Welcome, welcome, 1,000 welcomes. I'm Mark Fontes from CGTN. We are coming to you live from the Xiaoxiang rest stop here in the city of Zhaoqing in Guangdong province. It is a beautiful Thursday morning on this eve of the Chinese Lunar New Year, the minor Chinese New Year for many people. Many across northern China, really all of China, celebrating today with gifts and everything. People welcoming others, extended family members home. You see behind me just a few of upwards of 200,000 Chinese migrant workers who on this day, and actually for several days now, have been trekking homeward. It's a long journey that they're going to be on and that some of them have completed already, but the ones you see here with me are about the middle of their journey, most of them on the early end of it, because here in Guangdong province where most of them work, they are leaving for about 2 or 3 weeks because of the Spring Festival holiday. They'll be going home, most of them to Guangxi province right next door. It's a long, lengthy journey, which we're going to tell you about, but we're also going to speak to some people over this next half hour. The riders today could not have gotten better weather. It's sunny, clear, about 47 if you keep degrees temperature in Fahrenheit. That's about 9-10 degrees Celsius, so we are approaching the double digits here in Celsius, and we will be definitely in that by the middle of the day today. So the riders have gotten very fortunate by choosing this day to ride home. Now, as you see behind me, there are a lot of people here taking advantage of this rest stop, which comes complete with food, drinks. They can get fuel here. They do have to pay for the gas, but everything else is basically free, provided by government officials as well as some very warm-hearted volunteers. We're going to speak with some of these people. Everyone who provides things like food, drink, bike repairs, as well as gifts assortment. I mentioned the gifts. We're going to talk to a woman who is oversees a lot of the operations with one of the NGOs here. Ma'am, what's your name?
I'm Rita.
Very good. Rita, thank you for being with us today. I understand you're with one of the NGOs that helps facilitate a lot of the volunteer efforts here. What's going on here? Why are you here?
I'm a volunteer from Polaris Youth, and they launch a campaign for those migrant workers to send some gifts to them. So I take part in this activity and be a volunteer here.
Yeah. Now tell me about Polaris Youth. I see the logo there on your hat. It sounds like it's a group made up of students, is that right?
Yeah. Polaris Youth is an educational program to inspire and encourage the young people to participate in some challenging task and community service. And as an organizer for this campaign, they published an article to recruit some volunteers in their official account. So I saw the article in their official account, and I take part in this activity. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic what you do here. I mean, these riders are on a 12-hour journey easily, a lot of them. Some shorter, some even longer than that. I see, you mentioned the gifts. I see this bag. Now, what's inside the bag? Each rider gets one of these things?
There are many things in it. You can see it is this is a pair of gloves. It can keep warm for their hands, and
they look like they're packaged well, airtight. So when you open them up, the gloves fit most of their hands. So yeah, that's definitely good.
It's some mask. Yeah, it can also protect their mouth and nose from the dust. Yeah. And it is a raincoat. They can use it in a rainy day. Yeah. And a towel. They can wipe their hands and face in such a long way. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a recycle bag.
Yes. Okay.
As you can see, many motorcycle drivers will bring a lot of luggages with them, and a bag can help them to put something in it. It is very convenient for them to have such a bag. Yeah.
Yes.
And the last thing is some red packets. Yes.
How could you have a Spring Festival gift assortment without the red packet? Yeah.
As you know, the Spring Festival is one of the most important festival for many Chinese people. So this red packet is a symbol for the Spring Festival, and that's why there are so many migrant workers drive such a long way to go back to their hometown every year. So we also want to give them some red packets.
Absolutely. Well, the riders make the journey. I know they're very thankful to have folks like yourself here. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for all that you do for these thousands and thousands of people who will stop by here. Have a great day. Yes. Well, the gift assortment, you know, full of, like we say, the red packet, a lot of the necessities. On a nice weather day today, they may not need the gloves and the masks so badly, but a lot of them do have to brave the elements, rain, colder temperatures. Yesterday, when it was overcast and quite a few degrees colder than it is right now, those gifts come in handy. Most of these people are able to complete their journey in about a day, 12 to 14 hours on average. Some a little bit shorter, just depending on where their hometown or their home villages are. But again, the gift bag with many necessities and essentials that are very well used, and I know that the riders here are very thankful for them. We're going to walk along here. You see some of the riders here taking a well-needed break. The government helps set up a lot of these rest stops like Xiaoxiang, and they don't mandate that the riders take a break, but they strongly suggest it because all those hours on the road, it's going to work up an appetite. It's also going to make them fatigued. So a lot of them, as you see, sitting here enjoying some porridge. I hear that's white turnip porridge with some pork pieces, so it sounds very good. It's a great breakfast treat as we are just early into the 9 a.m. hour, a lot of them having breakfast. And that porridge, excuse me, is made by a lot of these students who are all volunteers, as you see. In the yellow vests here, they're passing out tea, as well as there's quite a queue or a crowd for the porridge just behind me. The tea is definitely something to rev up and energize with as they get back on the road. And they obviously attract lots of visitors, lots of guests wanting to take pictures. I see one of the riders eager for some porridge. We're sorry to get in your way, Sarah. We'll walk right over this way. You see the students hard at work here. All of this is free of charge, thanks to the government, thanks to these volunteers. And I'm going to ask, what are you guys doing here today?
您今天是在这边做什么？
我今天在这里就是帮助社会有需要的人士，给他们送那些粥啊、热水啊。
I'm here to help the ones in need today. I provide hot water and also some porridge.
It's all volunteer work. I understand you guys are here on your own time as volunteers.
您在这边是做志愿活动吗？就是做怎样的一个志愿活动？
是的，我在这边是主要是肇庆政府联合高药工会其他那些协会一起举办的活动，然后我就是经过朋友的介绍，然后我就来高药工会这边看一下可不可以参加这个志愿活动，很有幸能参加这个志愿活动。
I'm here to join this volunteering activity. It's held by the Zhaoqing City government and also the Gaoyao District Union League. I was recommended by my friends, so I heard of this activity. I think it's a very meaningful activity, so I joined here as a volunteer.
Absolutely, and it's very meaningful, and I'm sure you feel very good about being here. What's your day like? How long will you be out here?
您一天的工作是怎么样的？可以简单介绍一下。您在这边一共待多长时间？
就是我们一般都是从早上8点钟就是来到这里，然后一直到这里的人流没有那么多，就是比较少人的时候，我们就下班了。我们在这里待20天，春节前的10天，还有春节后10天都在这里。整个暖流行动我们都会在这里陪着他们大家。
We come here normally 8 a.m. and then we leave with less people around here, maybe in the afternoon. We will be here for 20 days in total, 10 days before the Spring Festival and 10 days after the Spring Festival when the migrant workers come back.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of them have to restart the journey all over again after the festival. Thank you so much for being with us. The porridge, as we mentioned, it might look like kind of a milky rice pudding. It's very good. It's white turnip or white radish, as they say, in the porridge, and then of course pork. So they get their protein, their carbohydrates, these hungry riders who come by. Many of them, when they stop at Xiaoxiang, have already been on the road a good 5-6 hours. So it's definitely a place to stop, get some food, get some fuel. The volunteers, you know, they do make the porridge as well as the tea, which we saw, and you can tell that everyone's hearts are in the right place right here as they help a group that in total numbers about 200,000. The ridership has gotten a little bit less in recent years because more riders are opting to put their wives, their children on trains and buses. One thing about that, the trains, buses, etc. don't always go to some of these remote villages where the riders live. You see the hot water here. How can you have a rest stop in China, especially without hot water? That's definitely something that people love to come in contact with when they get here. Earlier, or actually yesterday when we were here, we saw a lot of these volunteers painting some very nice displays which go on buildings at the Spring Festival time of year. Of course, this perhaps one of, if not the busiest travel days, being that it is the Lunar New Year's Eve of the Chinese New Year, and the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month, if you can follow all those numbers. In the West, they have the astrological calendar, which is right now in the middle of Aquarius, and then of course Pisces is the last sign. On March 20th, that's when the Western astrological calendar begins, but the Chinese New Year, very most often a February beginning. A lot of these brochures, pamphlets. You see these stickers here, Wuyang Honda, Slow Down for Love. We're going to talk about that as well. There's a message behind those stickers. A lot of them get slapped on the backs of these motorcycles and the packs that a lot of these riders carry with them. And again, all these people here strictly volunteer, nobody requesting any payment, and everyone doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. You see more tables, and then of course we've got a doctor who's certainly on hand. A lot of these riders, as we mentioned, fatigue. They're encouraged to drive slowly. They shouldn't speed. They have to stay off the major highways, so they have to stick to the provincial roads, the state roads, where speed will be an issue. But again, they come in, even driving 40, 50 kilometers an hour, not all that fast. They still bear a lot of wind in their faces, and you see it's definitely a need to see a doctor. You see China Mobile, a lot of the sponsors here, many of these people, big companies, well-renowned companies, on hand, just again, strictly volunteer efforts. We've got more volunteers advertising phones and Wi-Fi modules. As I mentioned, the weather today very, very nice. It wasn't this mild yesterday, not necessarily warm, but it will get warmer by the middle of the day. And so the riders, the ones making the journey today, picked an excellent day. More food, snacks, cookies. Again, a lot of very benevolent volunteers, very philanthropic people with a lot of goodness in mind. We're going to swing things over this way because I mentioned that a lot of the riders will have needs for their motorbikes. It's a long journey, over 1,000 kilometers for some of them, and it takes all day, dawn till dusk. The mechanics you see here from Wuyang Honda and from some of the other Honda branches fix and tune up anything that the bikes need. You never know what it could be. A flat tire, it could be just needing a tune-up, could be an exhaust problem. It's all, again, volunteer. The riders stop here, they park the bikes, the mechanics take a look, and all this service work done completely free of charge. You see one man putting a piece back on the side. It's busy work, but everyone's spirit in the right place, especially at this festive time of year, with the riders in mind. Mechanics are one of the most necessary professions out there. Whether it's a motorcycle, a car, a truck, whatever you drive, mechanics always need to be the ones to help you out with those. And you see a rider getting some help and some advice from one of the mechanics. We're going to speak with one of them actually, because I'm curious myself. Hi sir, how are you? Tell me, what brings you here today?
您今天是来做什么呢？做怎样的活动？
就是说，帮他用户免费检查车辆，如果是有问题啊，就帮他们进行一个免费的检修。
I'm here to doing the volunteering job to for free of charge to check their motorcycles. There is something wrong, I will repair them for free.
What are some of the problems you find most often? Because I know it's a long journey. The bikes understandably get a lot of wear and tear. What are some of the most common problems you see?
我们知道这个摩托车大军返乡的路途很遥远，在这个过程当中，他们最常出现的一些摩托车的机械问题是什么？
首先是几方面吧，一个是那个链条就是过长，还有呢就是刹车不灵，还有是灯光啊之类的，主要是这几方面，机油啊各方面缺啊。因为这些都是主要是安全性能的，我们一般都要保障他们安全的回家。
There are several issues. The first one is maybe the chain of the motorcycle needs to replace, and also maybe the brake is unresponsive, which is very dangerous, and also the lightning is not work. Those are all related to a security issue. We will repair them for. We will repair it for them. Yeah.
And I know you're here as a volunteer as well as your crew. It must make you feel good to be able to help these people.
您这边是做这个志愿活动，您是这个志愿活动让您感觉怎么样？您做了多久？
我在这里就做了8年。首先我的感觉呢，就是因为这几年，在返乡的那个农民工啊，他们主要车辆啊有质量的，就是安全性能。经过这么多年，我们也要保障他们的安全的性能那里呢，我们就主要是帮他们调整啊，还有换机油啊，各方面反正我们作为一个企业也有这个责任，把他们做好，让他们保障他们安全的回家，就是这样了。
I've been doing this.
这是我们个人的感受。
For my personal experience, I've been doing this kind of volunteering job for 8 years. This is the 8th year, and from my experience, during this year, the migrant workers' bicycles are getting better. And regarding to the safety issues, maybe I will add some engine oil to their motorcycles, and it's kind of better. And also, what I'm doing is for the social responsibility of myself and also for my company.
Very good. Well, we're glad to hear that, and I know that the riders are glad to have you. Thank you for being with us. I wanted to mention, I know earlier I said about these stickers. You see here, Wuyang Honda Slow Down for Love. Yesterday when we were here in much colder conditions and overcast skies, these bright resplendent red stickers, which are of course in the shape of a heart, they get slapped on the back of the majority of the bikes that stop here. Reckless drivers, even police officers, anyone out there who might not respond too favorably to a motorcyclist is reminded to slow down and be careful. Now, I'm not saying that police officers will, do anything out of the ordinary. However, they have been known to write citations for bikes that might be in violation of something if the rider is speeding, if the bike is overloaded, too many people on it, or too many belongings on the back. The nice thing is, one police officer we spoke with yesterday says that education about road safety is preferred over writing too many citations. If an officer finds somebody in committing a serious offense, like the bike is way too overloaded or they're just driving too fast, yes, that could be a citation that gets issued in the amount of 200 yuan or even more, depending on the offense. But in the vast majority of minor violations, they know that these riders are trying to get home and to see their families, especially their extended families. So if there's a slight violation going on, the officer is likely to just stop and give them a warning rather than a ticket. You see more of the bikes being fixed here. These mechanics, understandably riders, drivers themselves. We're going to talk to at least one of the riders, time permitting, as the morning goes on here. I'd like to bring in a very special guest. We are joined right now by a gentleman from AMAP. Many of you know the map app that they find on their phones. And he's going to tell us actually about an app that the riders have available to them. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Okay,
Great.
welcome.
Now, tell me about the app, what it does, and how is it different from just a regular GPS?
可以帮我们简单介绍一下高德地图的这个春节春运期间的新应用吗？
好，我们春节期间主要推出了一个温暖回家路的这么一个活动，跟交警一起，主要是推出了2个功能，一个是组队公告群，我们在地图上输入组队回家。
We have new features on our map. This map during the Spring Festival travel rush. It's called the heartwarming action. And the 2 features let me introduce. The first one is team up. We tap the team up in Chinese in our search engine on the app, and then those will show up. 我们看一下这个屏幕。
好。看。
And then I understand that the groups get them, and then one of the responses is they can find out where the group is and some information from government officials. Is that right?
据我了解的话，是这个组队的话，我们加入了之后是可以接收到一些当地交管部门发布的最新信息的，是这样的吗？
是的，没错。我们以广贵县为例。
We will for the first group as example, we tap in the password and we join this big group of the migrant workers going back home. Then we can see that there are 3,490 people are in this big group.
好，然后我们看左上角的公告。
We click the button on the left side of the corner, and we can see that the information published by the local government.
安全回家骑行的路线、交通管制的信息、天气的情况、拥堵的预测，都在我们这个公告群里头，能够第一时间给所有在群里头的摩托大军。
The motorcycle workers can see, the bikers can see the safest route of going back home, and also the weather forecast, and also the traffic jam alarm.
这是第一个，在这个大的群里头，我们还可以把队伍口令上角的队伍口令发给你的亲朋好友，同一线路的好友组小群，彼此可以分享自己的位置。
We can send the password to your relatives or friends, anyone who wants to join your little group. We can form our little team within this big group.
Very good.
好，这是第一个功能。我们第二项的功能是暖心地图。
And the second function is heartwarming GPS map.
您看到
You can see on the screen
在
many red dots.
在我们所在的地方，
in the area we are
附近有若干一个春运服务站。
We can see many service stations during the Spring Festival rush.
OK，
Those red dots with a number on it.
我们把它放大。
We can zoom in.
在蓝色的这个地方，我们点击
The blue dot is where we are standing.
Yes.
这一个站就是我们现在所在的小乡加油站。
We are at 小乡 petrol station. So this is where we are standing.
Yes. The red stops, all these rest stops, most of these riders heading in a west by northwest direction, the vast majority of them here at Shaoxing rest stop live in Guangxi province, which they reach after not too much longer on the road. But again, that's west by northwest direction that they're heading. Most of these people work in Guangdong province, could be Guangzhou, could be Foshan, could be any number of the cities due to the opportunities. They're on the road 48, 49, 50 weeks out of the year. The Spring Festival really the only time they have all calendar year to go home and see extended family and of course bring the immediate family, the ones that live with them. So the app, I understand, very helpful to them, and I'm sure they're glad to have it. And most of the riders do use the app. Are you finding a good response to it?
你看现在目前有多少个人加入了我们这个使用我们这个手机的软件呢？
理论上是所有的摩托大军成员都可以。那我们得到的一个数据呢，在广东、广西都是有数万摩托大军可以使用我们这一个。
Hundreds of thousands migrant workers, according to our big data, in Guangdong province and Guangxi province are using our map.
目前我们跟各地警方各地交警的合作，已经有全国有200多个春运服务站在高德地图上上线。
Well, we cooperated with the traffic police officers and the traffic control department. For in the country, in China, we have more than 200 service stations showing on our map.
Absolutely. In a very densely populated country, especially the southern provinces, you need a lot of rest stops for this long, as I've said, 12-hour journey on average. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to try and meet, while we have about 5, 6, 7 minutes with you still, we're going to try and talk with some of these migrant workers who are at the same time long-distance motorcycle riders. Again, I keep mentioning the weather. The sun makes all the difference on a day like this. It's very crisp and mild. It's actually a great day to be out there. Because they're encouraged to keep a decent speed, they won't have too much harsh wind or other road dirt, other particles blowing into their faces. But it's a tough life out there. It's a tough ride, going from where they work in Guangdong province up to Guangxi province, or out to Guangxi province rather. We're going to see if one of them might want to talk to us. A lot of these people travel with their spouses, their children. I see a family here. We'll see if we can talk to this man. He may be even using the AMAP app. Sir, hello. Tell me, are you on your way home?
你好，我们是中央电视台英语频道，现在在做一个视频直播，想采访一下您。请问您现在是准备要回家吗？大概还有多远？
还有300多公里啊。
They're 300 kilometers away from home. They're heading towards.
Okay.
their
Sounds
hometown.
like
Yeah.
the journey is mostly complete then. What have you got here? I know that a lot of you bring your wives, your kids. I know you pack a lot of belongings. What do you bring with you on this trip?
就是您这边都看您打包了很多行李啊，都带了什么回家过年？
没什么，拿点衣服啊，买点糖啊，那些什么的。
We bring a lot of clothes and also candies for my relatives.
Great. Of course, it's a very gift-giving time, especially today being the eve of the Chinese Lunar New Year. And I see your son and your wife here. How old is your son?
请问小朋友今年多大了
8岁半嘛。
He's 8 years old.
Oh, okay, great. Well, one of many kids of all ages. We met a 12-year-old yesterday. We met a family with a 4 and a 2-year-old. 4 people all together on one bike along with their belongings. This is the life of a migrant worker, and the Spring Festival really the only time of year they get to spend with extended family. Thank you so much for speaking with us, and a very happy holiday to you. A lot of these people, of course, own the motorcycles. Yes, they're theirs. They choose not to ride the trains and the buses. It's not so much an affordability issue as much as it is the train and bus tickets selling out. That's one issue. But also, because a lot of these people live in remote, desolate parts of China, the buses and trains may not even go there. So again, the motorcycle really the only viable, sensible option for a lot of people. You see some workers here having a break. Sir, are you on your way home?
您好，您现在是在回家的路上吗？还有多远能到家？
对，还有300多公里。
I'm on my way home. It is more than 300 kilometers away.
Okay. Are you traveling solo or do you have family with you on this trip?
您今天是跟家人一起回去，还是自己一个人回？
跟家人就是这几个。
I come with my family. Those are my family members.
Oh, wow. Okay, we have another big group here.
是您的父亲、母亲，还有那个。
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Aunt and aunties.
Okay.
Cousins.
Okay. Extended family making the trip. I know a lot of people make the trip to see extended family, but a lot of those extended family members sometimes make the trip as well. And then, lastly, what are your plans for the holiday, for the Spring Festival?
今年春节有什么计划可以跟我们简单分享一下吗？
计划，就是跟家里人过一个好年，过一个平平安安的年。
I want to spend some quality time with my family back in my hometown.
And that quality time, about 2 or 3 weeks. It sounds like a nice lengthy vacation, but really this is the only chance all year that these workers who are working in another town, another province, 48, 49 weeks out of the year, this is the only chance they get to see many family members and the only time they get some downtime. Thank you so much for being with us, sir. A lot of these migrant workers, once the holiday is over, they find themselves tasked with finding a brand new job. Most of the ones we've talked to work that permanent job, position, whatever it is, and they're able to return to it after the holiday. But for many others, they have to basically go back to the drawing board, to use a Western expression, and start the journey all over again, finding a new job, providing for their families. Most of them not making great money. Again, that's one of the reasons they ride the motorcycle. They save money by not buying train and bus tickets, but again, a lack of those tickets means that they don't have any other sensible options. And fortunately, most of them are opting to put their wives and children on the trains and buses now while they ride solo, so everybody does get home, usually safe and sound. The number of riders because of that has somewhat gone down in recent years. In 2000, when this motorcycle troop started up, it was well over 200,000 riders that would make the annual journey. Now it's starting to spiral downward. It's more like between 150,000 and 200,000 because the government and the police just want as many people to stay safe out there, and the riders themselves are cognizant of that, which is why they will go it solo and put their family members on those other means of transportation. Fortunately, because the ridership is also spiraling downward, the number of accidents and even deaths from those accidents down, only between 20 and 30 every year. That number going down. The police, of course, told us that everybody needs to stay safe out there. As I mentioned, these riders are not allowed on the major highways. They have to stick to the state and provincial roads, one of which you see behind me, only about 2 lanes wide on both sides. So they have to keep a decent speed and watch out for big buses, big tractor trailers, anything else that might get in their way. Driving slowly prolongs the journey, but at least they arrive home safe and sound, most of them. I'm Mark Fontes from CGTN. We thank you so much for spending part of this holiday eve morning with us here in Xiaoshan in Guangdong province. We're about a 2-hour drive west of the city of Guangzhou. Xiaoshan rest stop here in the city of Zhaoqing, kind of the midpoint for a lot of these riders, but a lot of them have journeys of all sorts of different distances, and most of them in the hundreds of kilometers. So we wish them all very well. We wish you a very happy Spring Festival holiday, and thank you so much for joining us.